blood, they did my test, they did this stuff, but then next door they put you on one of these trays and they put you through one of those, what's it called, the machine?
CT scanner.
Yeah, CT scanner. They actually do a 3D model of your heart to see how it's going, and my wife was there to make sure I actually had a heart, so it worked out pretty good. And it was really, really neat because you have one person to talk to, and the reason I thought it was so cool to team up with him is that he simplified all the stuff that, you know when you go to a doctor and they give you all this complex information, you don't really know what to make from it? He takes it and deduces it to super common sense stuff so even I can understand. And what's really, really neat, and I want you to talk about heart disease and how big of an epidemic it's become.
Well, heart disease is actually the #1 killer in this country. And it's the #1 killer in most Western countries. It's a big problem because when we think about screenings, we do breast cancer screenings, with mammography, we do colon cancer screenings, but we don't do screenings for the heart, which is a big problem. Cancers kill about 700,000 people per year. Cardiovascular diseases, 1.5 million people per year. When we talk about the women in this room, most women will die of cardiovascular diseases. Why don't we have screening for cardiovascular diseases? We can do it. It's just not done. It's done in my practice. In our hospital, we have over 75 cardiologists. They're all great. They'll take care of you after you've had a heart attack. They'll take care of you after you've had a stroke. Before that, nice to see you, go back to your doctor. I'm the guy who does it up front so you don't see those guys and you don't meet those guys. And that's what we need to do. And there's so much that you can do without medications. There's lifestyle things we can do. But I tell you, when you go to medical school in a Western country, where we live right now, they only teach you what they teach you here. They don't teach you what we know in Eastern medicine. They don't teach you things that have been known for decades. When you talk about heart intelligence, there's no cardiologist that knows about heart intelligence.
That's like the heart math stuff,
that's
right?
That's the heart math stuff.
Right.
So I was just at the American College of Cardiology meeting in San Francisco 3 weeks ago. 28,000 cardiologists from all over the world. How many know about heart math? Less than a handful. Less than a handful.
How many people have ever heard heart math? Wow, see the difference? No. You guys should all be doctors. So let me ask a question. Does anyone have a question that you'd like to ask? Yes.
Yeah. What's the #1 thing that we can do to bring ourselves heart coherence, in your opinion?
What's the #1 thing we can do to give ourselves heart coherence?
I think it starts with your thoughts. Okay, you won't hear this from a regular cardiologist, none of my colleagues, but it starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts are based on your feelings, and your thoughts turn into actions. But we know that your thoughts affect your physiology. The way you think, and when you breathe, if you breathe out a certain vapor, this has been proven. The way you think affects the physiology of the vapor that you breathe out. If you're in a loving, appreciative way of thinking, the vapor has a different context versus someone who's sad and fearful or frustrated. It's completely different. That's proof that it's changing our physiology, and that can affect your heart.
Well, you know, one of the projects I've been working on, maybe we'll talk about a little bit tomorrow, is The Secret of Happiness, right? We've got the app, we've got the website, all this great stuff. But I've been going on this journey where I'm doing, it's called Happiness ROI. It's like, what's the return on investment for being happy? And I wanted to ask people, is there a real reason for people to be happy, except for warm, fuzzy, feel good, high five? Is there something tangible? And I asked you, I said, is there a tangible benefit for happy people? Do they have less heart attack, or do they recover easier? What's the answer?
The answer to that is yes, absolutely. And there's evidence to prove it. And we know the type A person that's picky about everything and has to have everything in a particular order, their risk of having a heart attack is far higher than the type B person. We know that for a fact. And we also know for a fact that people who present to the hospital, this was described a few years ago in Japan first, and we've seen this, I've seen this firsthand here. When people are under a lot of stress, their heart can be so damaged it looks like they've had a massive heart attack.
Wow.
We've seen this. I've got pictures, I've got videos I can show you. And it was first described in Japan, and I didn't believe it. When I was a fellow about 10, 12 years ago and I was training, we saw someone come in with a massive heart attack. Their heart looked like it was damaged. Normal heart function is about 60%. This person's heart function was 10%. So this lady came in with a massive heart attack, And we take her to the cath lab and we do an angiogram looking at her arteries to see where the blockages were. She had no blockages. No blockages. And her heart's pumping at 10%. So it was all stress-induced. She was in a very stressful situation emotionally, physically, and from a illness perspective. All those things together put her in this stress-induced state. Then 2 weeks later, after treating her and getting her better, her heart function was better. It was normal. That does not happen with a heart attack. So that's all with the mind.
Sorry, I thought you were done. I'm sorry. I have a question. If someone is suffering from the onset of a heart attack, all right, some of the telltale signs, is there a way for them to literally think themselves better at that time? What do you suggest they do on the onset of a heart attack?
There is a way, but I would say you do both. And that's why, you need someone like me, because I believe in the thought affecting your health as well. But I also believe in what we've learned in medicine, the true traditional way of practicing medicine. So in that particular person, the first thing I would say is take an aspirin. That's going to save your life. It's going to decrease your risk of dying by 50% at that moment. That's huge. The other thing is to try to say calm your thoughts down while you're having crushing chest pain or you can't breathe. It's a little challenging. But I would say, if you can do that or be in a calm type of a situation, that'll help you. But usually the reason why they're having a heart attack is because they're not. They're in a stressful situation. I've had people who've had heart attacks at board meetings in their office. I've had athletes who've had heart attacks in a stressful situation arguing with their sister. So it happens.
Okay, yeah, stand forward in the back.
So, many of us are moving and grooving and running and gunning, and we end up with like adrenal fatigue or something like that. Two questions. One, is there a correlation between adrenal fatigue and cardiac disease? And if so, other than meditation and the regular stuff, is there anything that you can tell us that may not be readily available to mitigate that?
Well, with adrenal fatigue, you're probably also in a high-stress situation. Many things are going to really cause you to be in a high-stress situation. And we know there's a direct correlation between a high-stress situation, inflammation in your body, and heart disease. It's just as bad as someone having high cholesterol. Stress and stress markers can be a predictor of heart disease too.
Wow, pretty powerful. Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned about the inflammation and how that affects the heart. So would you prescribe somebody, if they're eating like a typical American diet, to go on like an alkaline diet, which reduces a lot of inflammation?
Alkaline diet is one thing that I might consider. And the data as far as the alkaline diet is some data that I'm aware of. I'm still looking at that. But the data that is solid is a vegetarian diet. A vegetarian diet is very powerful as far as anti-inflammatory benefits that you get with a vegetarian diet.
Okay, so I saved this from you. Facebook, ready for this one? You ready for this one? A mechanic was removing a cylinder head from a motor of a Harley motorcycle when he spotted a well-known heart surgeon in the shop. The surgeon was there waiting the service manager to come take a look at his bike. The mechanic shouted across the garage, "Hey doc, can I see you soon?" The surgeon, quite surprised, walked over to the mechanic working on the motorcycle. The mechanic straightened up, wiped off his hands on a rag and asked, "So doc, look at this engine. I open up like it's a heart, I take out the valves, I fix them, I put them back in, and when I finish it, it works just like new. So how come I get such small salary and you get all the real big bucks? Basically, we're working on the same thing." The surgeon paused, smiled, and leaned over and whispered to the mechanic, "Try doing it with the engine running."
About 6 properties that I thought were great deals, and life was just in the toilet. Newly divorced, not doing very well. And I finally said, wait a second, I'm here because of the things I've done. Yeah, things happen I couldn't control, but I had to go with the punches. And that happens to all of us. We have an idea, something comes up, and whether you stand up, get back up on your feet like Rocky in the 12th round versus, I've been Rocco, I will break you. It's up to you. And that's happened. I've gotten hit, knocked down, and got back up on my feet again, And so that's why my quote's like that, because things will turn out. It may not exactly turn out like you want it to. It's whether you go with the punches or you fight it. And a lot of times the worst thing we do is fight it and just go with it, and it'll turn into something that's even more amazing than we ever figured out. When I launched my firm back 6 years ago, I had an idea of where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be a nationwide company working with investors and trading deals all across the country. So literally, I hit the road for 8 months. Sold everything, got rid of all the little attachments and the things in life that weigh us down, the furniture and the china and the pictures. The only thing I had was my dog. My golden lab. One of the biggest things that ever makes me happy is my dog. Because this dog is a love whore. Serious. There are like 4 people that fight over watching my dog. It's funny that. Anyway, Princess, which is the only thing left from my wife, is the name. And I traveled the country for 8 months. Didn't know where we were going to go. We had kind of a loose plan. We didn't get half through the plan because we had so much fun and so much sex along the way. Met, not success. Wow. What a crowd. Anyway. Wow.
It's there for humor.
Hey, shh. Don't be talking dirty about my dog. Alright? Anyway, where was I going with this guy?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. Anyway, but it's the same thing. Okay, things have happened. Things have gone. Things fail every day. I mean, we get kicked in the teeth, we get kicked in the rear, we get knocked down every day with things. Offers get accepted, offers get denied, offers get pulled back. You know, decisions say no. Go with the no's. Turn the no's into a yes. I can tell you how many times I've been told no that I've turned back into being not now. And that's what you have to look at life. All the no's in life, I mean, they're just not ready for you. Okay? I just spent the last 7 days, actually, from last Sunday through Friday, was 50 of my mastermind students in Orlando. We all flew across the country, and we worked our tails off. Aaliyah, you guys stand up. Would you real fast? I mean, Mark back there.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys,
Guys,
all across the country, we got a great group, man. A lot of you guys have met here at Secret Knockable a while back. Aaliyah started them. I mean, you guys that come here for the first time, you're probably blown away, like, what is this? We are going to sing Kumbaya here in a little bit? It's not that. It's the relationships you make. Some of you guys are like family. And that's what you have to embrace. It's completely opposite thinking. So you guys may have come here thinking one thing. You'll never know what's going to turn out from here, the relationships you're going to make. And that's a business. I don't know if I'm making any sense or it's as clear as Mississippi mud. But that's it. I mean, things will turn out. I mean, you guys will be hit. You're going to take, you're going to have failures, but make the failures winners. Because it's something, somebody else had a quote, you don't know what to expect until you're told no. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm thankful to be here. It's why people have asked me, why do you keep sponsors? It's not a typical thing, because I love being around the energy in the room and the people here. So I hope you all have a fun time. Do me a favor tonight and throughout the weekend. I used to be in the restaurant industry, used to manage restaurants. Make sure and thank everybody out there that's serving the food.
Yeah.
All right, those guys in Austin, they work for $2.13 an hour. Here they make a little bit more. Okay, they serve your food. You want to make sure they serve you clean, but which they will, of course. So, but let's make some rip roaring noise for the master of the hour, the big mad bald hatter, the last known verbal gunslinger, Greg Reed. Come on, baby.
Thank you, Scott. Good man. And again, when you're eating that delicious food tonight, remember you want to give them some props. Three people. My favorite interview, Evander Holyfield. And I'm going to tell you a story real quick as I bring up the next speaker because it's very fitting. When I asked Evander Holyfield, I said, what makes you so special? He said, real simple, I have a higher standard. Just like Scott Carson was talking about, so raising your standard just a little bit more. I said, but didn't it hurt being in the fight? He goes, of course it hurts. But when you're in a fight, you don't focus on the pain, you don't focus on the blows. As soon as you focus on the pain, you end up on your back, knocked out. He says, but that's what everyone does outside the ring. They focus on the gas prices and the war and the economy, and they wonder why they never become a champion in their own field. He says, where could you be outside the ring if you were a tech groomer, stockbroker, or insurance sales executive that had a higher standard than them? And I looked up at him and literally had half an ear eaten off by Mike Tyson, right? He pulled me inside. And he says, you know what the funny thing is? He says, when you do win the championship, he says, everyone comes to their feet and they chant your name. They raise your hand in victory and the guy puts a big shiny belt around your waist. And at that moment, And at that second, you don't feel even one of the punches you took along the journey. But the guy in the losing locker room will feel every bruise for the rest of their life, wishing they had a higher standard. So how do you set your standards high? You surround yourself with the best people, and you put the best content into your brain. We put a room full of some of the best, brightest people together for you, and now I'm about to bring up one of the most complete visionaries of our time. Michael Drew, I'm telling you, is going to absolutely blow your doors off, because he's going to teach you a principle, a process called the pendulum. And the pendulum is exactly the reason why I started my corporation, The Secret to Happiness, all based on the information you're about to hear. If it's good enough for Harvard University, it's good enough for a secret knock. Come to your feet, put a round of applause for the one and only Michael Drew. Come on up, Michael.